When you think about Wuthering Waves, you probably think of characters like Camellia and Jin C because those characters output a massive amount of damage. However, there's another side of the spectrum, and that would be more of the support characters like Shorekeeper and Verena, for instance. So, as we know, Shorekeeper gives an energy regen buff as well as the crit rate and crit damage, 12.5 and 25 respectively, and Verena giving a damage amplification of 15% for 30 seconds to everybody on the team with their outro skill. But many times I feel like people forget about the characters in between. The sub DPS, or as I like to call them, enablers. And I like to call them enablers for the simple fact that a lot of the time that's what they do. They enable your main DPS to do what they need to do more efficiently, or rather complete their kit. So when you see big damage like this, for instance, it's not strictly because of Camellia, it's also because of that character in the second slot. So today I want to talk about one character in particular, Sanhua, and if you don't have him built, why you're missing out on a lot of damage. So to make this video a little easier to follow, pretty much I'm going to be talking about what Sanhua does, why it's so important that she does it, and also how easy she is to actually use. It's honestly as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now let's talk about what Sanhua does. So, Sanhua, first of all, if we look at the combat role, says that she's a Concerto efficiency character, shows she's quick to regenerate that energy, and also she's a basic attack damage amplifier, which is really good. This is for a specific teammate, so if you're using Sanhua, whoever you switch into is then getting that basic attack buff, but we'll go into that a little bit more later. She's a very easy character to build. I would say like 140 to 150 energy regen is really solid for this character, and then you're going to want to build her with attack as well as crit rate and crit damage, because she's going to be on the field for so little that you might as well try to get as much damage from her as possible. As for a weapon, this one is actually really easy. I personally use Emerald of Genesis because this is what I picked through my selector, and it's just a really solid stat stick for many characters. It's like an in-between between like a certain character's signature weapon and like a 4-star option, you know what I mean? Like Emerald of Genesis is perfect for that in-between if you don't have a character, because after all, it has solid basic attack and also 22.1% crit damage, which is half of a 4-star Echo main stat, which is now there may be the question of what set do you build Sanhua on? Do you build her on the Glacial set? Do you build her on Moonlit set? Or you know, like what do you do with this character? Because she is Glacial and she does damage, so it would make sense to put her on the Glacial set, but she's also a sub DPS slash enabler, so wouldn't it make sense to run her on Emerald? I said Emerald, I meant to say Moonlit. Moonlit question mark. So if you look here, as you guys can see, my Sanhua is using Moonlit Clouds for that extra boost in energy regen, which means that I don't personally have to get those substats, in addition to, upon using outro skill, increases attack of next resonator. Now if you look here, where the outline is here and we can see a lot more stuff, we get 10% energy regen and 22.5% attack. And that's not basic attack damage, that's just attack damage. So this set is actually beautiful for all enabler type characters, because you're just going to be enabling your next resonator by just that much. So as we can see here, we have that, and I am using Heron because when Heron initial attack lands on an enemy, the current character regains 10 resonance energy, and if the current character uses their outro skill within the next 15 seconds, which you would use at the end of her rotation, the next character's damage dealt will be boosted by 12% for 15 seconds. So just by having 4 of the Moonlit and also using Heron as your Echo, you're getting a total of 34.5% attack increase for the incoming resonator, which is super solid. And we're not even taking into account the basic attack damage bonus that she just adds on with her outro skill, right? So now if we look at her forte, you know, her skill tree, the outro skill says that it increases the basic attack damage by 38% for 14 seconds, or until that character switched out. So when she switches off field, that next character coming in is going to get that basic attack damage bonus for 38%. A 38%er? Guys, that's pretty solid. That was a lot of information to throw at you guys, and I do realize that, so I'm going to demonstrate what you would do in a normal rotation with Sanhua to give the most damage increase for your character or your main DPS. All right, so now I'm going to demonstrate the basic Sanhua combo. I'm going to have to say it fast, but I'll still try to say it as fast as possible while it's happening on screen. And then I'm also going to show you the damage buff that Camellia gets from Sanhua and Outro. So we start with Resonance Liberation to Resonance Skill. We're going to hold basic attack, which will be the enhanced version. And then we're going to use Heron for that extra buff. And once we switch to Camellia, you'll see we're at 2552 for her attack. And we are at 75.2 for her basic attack damage bonus, which of course is the 38% increase in addition to the attack increase from the Moonlit Cloud set, in addition to Impermanence Heron's 12% attack increase. And now we're about to see how much this Ephemeral hits for. Hopefully we crit. 321,000 damage. And the icing on top is that when we compare it to other supports like Yunlin as well as Zhezher, Sanhua is a 4-star character. She's a character that is quite accessible to many different players, but in reality, Sanhua is fast, she's easy to use, and she gives a decent attack buff even if the character you're, switching into doesn't necessarily use basic attack damage. And another character that Sanhua works well with is a character that many of you guys may have, which is Encore. Encore is a main damage dealer, and she does basic attacks primarily in her kit. And even if we look at her forte, right here in her Resonance Liberation, we can see that although she switches modes, much like Zhang Liao as well as Jian, she continues to do basic attacks. Her basic attack is still considered basic attack damage. Her heavy attack you're not going to use until the very end of her rotation. The resonance skill is very fast and still considered resonance skill, and then even the dodge counter is counted as basic attack damage. And your normal attacks is something that you're going to be doing a large majority of the time, and that normal attacks are basic attacks. So using Sanhua with this character is also a good option. And although some people may not use this character anymore, Spectral Rover is also a very solid character to use with Sanhua. If you are a free-to-play or someone who just joined and you do have Sanhua and you're still using Spectral Rover, those two are really solid to use together on a team. As we can see here, her resonance skill is very basic. She just uses this and then it's done. And her resonance liberation is also very simple. She uses this and then it's done. And her forte circuit is also pretty simple. It just goes around the resonance skill. But in all of that downtime, when you're not using your liberation, you're not using your resonance skill, you're going to be using basic attacks. So using Sanhua not only to give that attack increase to help Rover be more of a main DPS role, she's also going to give her that basic attack damage bonus on top of the damage bonus just in general, which is going to help out your Spectral Rover output more damage that she would have done without Sanhua. And then another character that's kind of iffy, it would be Danjin. Danjin uses a combo between her normal / basic attacks as well as her resonance skill. So a resonance skill buffer or a basic attack buffer would work for the most part in this case with Danjin. But I wouldn't say that she's the go-to support because, as you guys can see, Danjin's level 50. I don't know too much about her, but I do know about her kit, and she uses those two things. So a resonance skill buffer would be nice, but also a basic attack buffer would also be nice. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a like and subscribe. Honestly, this character is insane and I'd like to see her be used more. I know some people do use her, and I've seen a few other videos about Sanhua out there. And I just hope this video does a little bit of justice for the character for those people who have not built her or never really understood how to use her or just never really gave her a chance. And remember, if you don't want to get hit, make sure you crit, because that's the only way you're going to get past this content. I'll see you all in the next video, and Topi out.